paper, this is a done deal and has been for a long time. Who do you think is going to give, where do you think these millions of dollars are going to come from? It's, it's going to be the people, the customers of the community, and you guys are going to be remembered for sure if you go with this deal. This is a quick money grab, a line of credit as far as I can tell. This is a bad decision. If the business of your trash department either has been run bad or you got bad management, if this company can stand here and tell you they're going to give you millions of dollars each year, plus some up front, what are you guys doing wrong? Unemployment. Who's going to pay the unemployment? You guarantee your employees 6 months employment with this company, but after 6 months they can fire them. Who's going to be who can they collect unemployment? Is that going to be city unemployment, or is that going to be from this new company? And again, 6 months, and then you get a whole month of your salary if you leave. I heard many times that they've kept a majority of their employees in transition. I'd like to know exactly how many. And maybe in a year or two, you could get back to the citizens and ask or tell us how many employees are still working for this company. Something else that's come to my attention recently, and which gives me great concern about your decision making. An elected official in 2008, November of 2008, said that that person wanted to reestablish public trust in the city council. But yet, within 2 weeks, was writing an attorney out of the Political Fair Practice Commission asking if he could sell off the fire and police services and maintenance. 2 weeks being on the job. Had an agenda. The other things that concern me about this person's decision is in 06, bought a home in the valley here for $262,000. 05, took out another that same home for $300,000. At that time, owed $375,000 on the same home. 06, took out a $50,000 line of credit.
Mayor, I'm sorry to interrupt, but what
this is about the decision making of this council.
Does this have to do with a conflict of interest? All I've heard is the purchase of a residence, which is completely irrelevant to this agreement.
I have 3 minutes, and I can talk about this. If I feel that it is irrelevant to this topic, I think I have 3 minutes, Eric.
No, that's not exactly the rule, Mr. Tunkett. I appreciate that that's what you think. If it's germane to the agreement, I agree, sir, but you do have to make comments that are relevant to the franchise agreement.
Well, this is relevant in the business decisions of the city council, and I don't think that the council member that I'm referring to makes great business decisions, and I think this is one of them. And I'd like to continue. This house was sold in June of this year for $144,000 by the bank on a short sale. One of the other questions I'd like for you to ask, which comes up next, is can you opt out of this trash service as the city is passing an ordinance here up next, or trying to, opting out of this service. Maybe the representatives or the city attorney, the $1 million man over there, can tell us if you can opt out or not, or if you have to have this trash service. Thanks.
Okay, next we have Joe Cusio.
Yes. The gentleman said that the increase would be 5% in a year. He didn't say how much it's going to be after that year. I have 4 carts, 2 for grass, 1 for recycling, 1 for trash. There's nothing wrong with them. We're going to buy the new carts. Who's going to make the money back? There's something wrong going on here. This morning, about 20 after 6, my trash man came by. After he emptied up my carts, I started talking to him, and he said he's going to lose his job. Now these people say he's not going to lose his job. Who's telling the truth? And if he does lose his job, you people with your fine suits on are responsible for it. There's something wrong with this deal, and it sounds fishy, it's lobbyists, and special interests. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Is there any other members of the public who'd like to speak? Okay, seeing none, we're now closed for public comment. Is there any other statements by the City Council?
Sure, I'd like to make a couple.
Sure.
But you know what, I'd like to defer to the Vice Mayor, so I will follow you.
First off, I just wanted to clarify. You asked what it was going to be after. I just made a comment earlier that after the second year, where there's a 5% increase, rates would go with the CPI. We had Mr. DeGoy that also came up here right after that, told you what would happen if there was a negative or a zero flat for CPI. So we've already told you what the change in the rates would be, if any. After the first year at 5%, it would go with whatever the CPI is for that year, if there's going to be a rate increase. So it's been clearly labeled out here and defined what that's going to be. Secondly, we've talked about this in other work studies, and we've looked at what it would cost to maintain our department and what to get us up to level with all the standards and the new regulations within the state. And you're looking somewhere in excess, I think you were saying double, and it was more around 37% increase in your rates. Again, at that point with the city, we could never tell you, we would just notify you that your rates are going up at whatever percent. Here we've clearly defined to you what it's going to be if there are any increases in the rates there. I think that in regards to employment, there's been a very good offer by CR&R to make the best possible transition with our employees. And with the offer that they have, and again, the track record shows that they do maintain most of their employees. And the reality is, the economy is that that people have jobs today and sometimes they don't tomorrow, and that's the world that we live in. Nothing's guaranteed, nothing's for sure, and that that's the same with our jobs up here. That's the same with
you could lose your job too.
Absolutely, absolutely, I could lose my job, and I live with that. And I
hope so.
So,
but if this man loses his job, he could lose his house too.
Sir, you got
right.
comments.
So
please have a seat. You can't come back up and approach the council.
What's that?
You can't come back up and approach the council. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, well.
This, with the instability of the city that we've seen in the last years, if anything, this is a better chance for our employees, as they have a chance to go with a stable and solvent company and be able to start their future with a private enterprise. I think this is an opportunity. We've sat as a council in work studies and decided what were our main goals and objectives for the city, and I think we've outlined those clearly in other council meetings and so forth, that economic development and public safety were those priorities. And I think this part of this is also in keeping in tune with what we had discussed prior. So I think this is a good opportunity for the city, a good opportunity for our residents to move forward and be a new city of Hemet. So, Larry.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mr. Mayor. This is a monumental moment for the city of Hemet. I think this is a bold step in a direction to make every effort to manage this city in a solvent manner and a solvent way. There's a lot of people to thank through this whole process. Chris, I want to thank you for all your effort, putting together information that we had asked for in a timely manner, and those around about you. So thank you for those efforts. Alex, I think your company has stepped up to the plate. This is truly an employer's market. I know in my business, we get to really pick and choose who works for us because they come at us in droves. They come at us 100 at a time looking for 1 or 2 or 3 jobs. I believe that you recognize the value of the city employees, and you've proven that with a monetary advance towards them with a lot of benefits. It's pretty amazing to go into a new company and maintain your seniority as you enter that. So I respect and honor that you've made that decision to take care of those employees. Another point being made is I did my homework like I normally do and had discussions with 5 other cities that you service. 5 out of 5 could not have been any more pleased with the service that they're receiving from CR&R. So I want to publicly say that in researching the value of their service, I think you really do put your efforts behind what you say you do. So that's enough thank yous for that. I'm going to close a little bit story that I think is very anecdotal, but I think that it does tell the story of there's some quality employees in this city. This proposal was never, ever about the level of service. few mornings ago, I was gassing up in town, and while I was watching the gas gauge or the gas pump wheel and the money was going, and I was frustrated at that, but one of our refuse trucks pulled into this gas station and pulled in, opened the gates, picked the bin up, dumped the bin, put it back, and I'm watching the observation, and then our city employee didn't just put the bin back, but went through the entire area of trash enclosure, cleaned it up, put it in the bin, and then drove away. And I thought for a minute, and I knew this issue was coming before us, and here's an employee that is thinking, I could lose my job in a couple of weeks. But his level of service, I don't know who he was not diminished by the fact that he was a professional and he was doing his job. Alex, I want to say to you that if our fellows and ladies come over to you with that expertise of professionalism, this will be a very successful proposal. And in saying that, I want to encourage my colleagues for a unanimous vote. I think this is a move the city needs to make. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Linda, did you want to add?
How do you top that?
Just a story.
Mr. Eloquent. I would just, say ditto to everything. I mean, our employees are great. It's not a question of efficiency and how they've done their job, because they do an excellent job. It's about creating a revenue stream so that we can continue with public safety, and that is one of the most important things in our city right now. My concerns have actually been all addressed, and I'm satisfied with the answers I've gotten. Improved service with the same or less cost than what we would have to go out to people with the increase for, and our employees are going to be taken care of. One of the things when you go to another company, it's up to the individual whether they retain that job. You put forth the effort of the new company you're going to be working with, you'll probably retain the job. I would stand by the employees of the trash department and say they'll all be employed. I think you're getting some good people. And with that, just thank Chris, because she put up with me and answered all my questions through this whole process.
Everyone said everything.
Yeah, I'll keep my comments pretty brief. Currently, we're operating on a deficit this year of $4.4 million. We don't have that kind of money. We had to borrow it from another fund. Larry and I sat on the subcommittee, and our three main concerns were rate increase to the citizens of Hemet, the current employees and what their future is going to hold, and the level of service we're going to have for our community. Operating at a $4.4 million deficit, we would have had to increase rates. We've already talked about numbers here today. Our current employees would have had to take a pay cut. No two ways about it, in pay and benefits. And our level of services, we've done our homework and checked CNR's track record, and they have a wonderful track record with the current contracts they have out in the city. So with those addresses, it was, I know Howard came up and said that it was a predetermined decision, and I'll be honest with me, it was. There's too many bad choices that could have been if we don't approve this contract, and I can't ask our city employees to take a fourth year of cuts again. In this way, they're guaranteed their hourly rates. They're getting a retention bonus right around the holiday times. They're getting their current benefits with the new company. And the city has even talked, us council members even talked about maybe offering them a little extra incentive. So, I don't think anybody else has any more comments. Good. We have a motion.
I'll make the motion, Mayor, to approve.
Second.
And we have a first and second. I'm going to ask you to please vote. Okay, and the motion passes 5-0. Next, for a public hearing, we have agenda item number 12, which is ordinance allowing for self-hauling of solid waste.